5, 4, 3.
Hello, Internet, and welcome inside the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet. I am the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac, as always, coming to you live tonight from Raleigh, North Carolina for episode 1308 of the podcast. Last time we did the podcast, end of April. Can you believe that?
That was pretty long ago. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm joined here in the mobile studio with MC Percolator.
Coming at you with the facts.
Well, that's not what you said a moment ago. A moment ago, you said that you were coming with us with misinformation.
That was for the test recording, sir.
I know, I'm just kidding.
You're just playing with my words now.
I am. I'm definitely playing with your words.
Keep doing that, you're going to make me cry.
I'm going to make MC Percolator cry?
Only certain people can.
I really don't believe that DJ Vince VinnyMac could do that.
I mean, it doesn't really take that much effort.
Really?
I'm just saying. I'm a sentimental person. I'm a thick-skinned but large-hearted person.
Well, speaking of thick-skinned and large-hearted,
I don't know if those two things go in the same sentence.
No, not really. But anyway, I've got several beverages in the studio here today that I've got to try. One of them is the Coney Island Hard Root Beer.
Oh, yeah. It's a competitor with Damn Good Root Beer
yes.
and Not Your Father's.
I've got some Raleigh, North Carolina genuine water I've got to try. That's right.
I hear it's a whole lot better than Cali water.
That's
not making fun of anybody in Cali. I'm just saying it's a different water.
And you may have seen photos on the interwebs, but I've also got to try this real sugar root beer soda that I got actually in my mailbox a couple days ago.
Why did you take the one that was farthest away from you?
I didn't. Anyway, MC Percolator's got a real sugar root beer as well to try. He's already tried the Coney Island hard root beer.
It's delicious. It's my favorite of the three.
And of course, he tries genuine Raleigh, North Carolina water every day, or at least I hope he does. So he knows how that tastes. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead.
One of my favorite beers on the market right now, Lagunitas Little Something Ale. It's pretty delicious. And it's a fun IPA. I like it a lot.
So I just tasted the Coney Island hard root beer, and definitely good flavor.
Mm-hmm. Can't really taste the booze at all.
Well, I can, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a good thing.
I think it's better than Not Your Father's because of the lack in booze taste. It actually takes more of the characteristics of a root beer.
Now I get to taste the genuine Raleigh, North Carolina water, which I was gladly given.
Can't even let me describe it? Yeah. There has to be an analysis behind it. If you're going to do a tasting, you got to analyze.
What of the Coney Island hard root beer?
That and the water and the soda.
Well, I'll do that after I drink all of them.
Well, fine then.
So I drank the water. Tasted refreshing. It was nice and cold. It was delicious. Okay. I'll give my full analysis here in a moment. And now I get to try the real sugar root beer. Cheers to everyone out there who is not drinking one of these.
A little splash from my homies. That's pretty damn good.
Tastes really good. That's
pretty damn good root beer.
So I will compare the two root beers.
It's better than damn good root beer, if I might say. Oh, God, that was really corny.
So the interesting thing is that the hard root beer and the real sugar root beer, not surprisingly, tastes very similar.
Coney Island and the real sugar?
Yes. Now, of course, the differences that I can taste is certainly in the fact that the Coney Island hard root beer certainly has alcohol in it, and I can taste it. Again, it's not a bad thing. But nonetheless, I think for an alcoholic beverage, I think the Coney Island hard root beer is very smooth. It's very tasty, obviously.
Dangerous is what it is.
It can be dangerous, especially considering, yes, if you're one of those folks who can't taste the alcohol, like MC Percolator here. He doesn't seem to...
Which I think, at this point, from you saying you can taste the alcohol and I can barely taste it, makes me think that I can't go for my stage 2 Cicerone.
Perhaps.
I hear it's a lot of tasting and it's a lot of analysis.
And the real sugar root beer is definitely flavorful as well. You can definitely taste the real sugar. You can taste the full flavor of the root beer. And of course, for somebody like myself, I can instantly determine an artificial sweetener immediately. And
yeah.
This certainly does not have any artificial sweeteners in it.
So forgive me, but I will be belching because of this warm soda.
That's okay. Soda does that. As Willy Wonka used to say in the classic movie, people don't realize how much power carbonated beverages actually have.
Power?
Yes.
Interesting.
Now that's not word for word, so don't.
Oh, I mean, I'm actually waiting for you to elaborate. Give me an example.
Don't you remember the scene in
it's been a long time
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory when they power the
Van Wilder? What was his name? Is that his
name? I don't know. It's late, and I've had a lot of.
You've had just the bottleneck of it. You've like 14 ounces.
It's my excuse. Anyway, it's been a long time too. But anyway, remember
you had a Guinness earlier. I'll give you that.
Well, yeah, I did have a Guinness, but that wasn't going to do anything to me. But yeah, if you remember, they power. What was it? A train.
Oh yeah.
With the carbonated
pretty much everything
beverages.
With a motor, they power with
that.
Soda.
I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but in terms of a real life scenario, that would be a very expensive fuel.
Oh, what really?
Soda?
Soda is dirt cheap. It's the CO2 that costs the most.
Well, okay, let's compare.
With the syrup for soda.
Right now, well, actually, I guess if you were going to pair gasoline to soda.
That's the thing. Working in restaurants or whatever, working for a beer distributor, I guess I can say it on this, I work on draft systems. So I'm working with CO2 and propelling beer from one end of the building to the other using gas. And the same thing works with soda. And the syrup is the cheap part. It's the CO2 that costs the most.
I don't know. I think that gasoline, after just kind of thinking about it for a moment, I think gasoline in itself is more expensive in terms of volume. Mm-hmm. But I guess comparatively, based on how much I consume, mm-hmm. I feel like soda as a beverage is more expensive than gasoline as a fuel. But that's just because if you know me,
much soda?
If you know me, no, I don't drink that much soda. I used to, not literally that much, but I drink more than most people. But I don't anymore.
There's the burp.
There you go.
Waiting for it. It was sitting there.
So that was always, I will say that was always that was like my drug. Mm-hmm. My drug was soda. No, I wouldn't say I went crazy, but I guess from the outside, you probably would say I did.
You came over to my house, 6 months ago for the first, I think for the first time, and you brought over 2 12-packs of Dr. Pepper.
Well, that's because I wasn't sure how much I was going to need. And also, people don't realize that usually when I bring stuff like that. You came over
for 3 days, and you brought 3.
Yeah. Also, usually when I bring stuff over, I bring stuff over for everybody else too. So mm-hmm. It's not like it's just for me.
Yeah, that's
even though
true.
It probably is.
Yeah, which I don't know if you're ready to give up your secret recipe for your awesome manna juice. Your mixing of your 2 sodas, but you did bring over a lot of that.
Well, it's not much of a secret, but a lot of people don't understand that I usually buy Kroger branded sodas primarily because there really aren't any in my hometown anyway that sells orange soda and a citrus drop extreme equivalent of these beverages, and Kroger does. Now I know that there are a few bottling companies out there that sure will make an orange soda, but they're not. I don't find them appealing. Mm-hmm. They have an aftertaste that I don't like. So anyway, what I usually do is I mix 2 parts orange soda with 1 part citrus drop extreme. And it makes kind of like Whiteout Mountain Dew, if you're familiar with what that's like.
Oh, yeah.
And considering I haven't seen Whiteout Mountain Dew in a very long time.
Oh, it's been a good 3 years.
It's definitely cool to be able to make that. Especially when you consider how inexpensive it is to actually get a hold of Citrus Drop Extreme and orange soda from the Krogs, as I call it.
Yeah.
I call Kroger the Krogs. And in fact, after my father retired in 2004, he still needed medical insurance. So he's worked for Kroger for several years. And I always told him, I said, Kroger should just rebrand their store and call it the Krogs. I don't care if it's more characters. They just need to rebrand and call Kroger the Krogs. The Krogs.
I'm pretty sure that's somebody's last name.
It probably is, but either way, I find that to be absolutely hilarious. So this is another wild episode of the podcast. As you know, last time we did the podcast was the very end of April. So it is now close to the end of July. And that's what? 2.5, almost 3 months since we last had a podcast.
We've been busy, man.
We've been very, very busy. I mean,
you've been all over the country.
I've been all over the country. And speaking of, so, I mean, aside from work, which is crazy in itself, yes, I've been all over the country. So middle to the end of May, I had to travel to Phoenix, Arizona to do some work for Phoenix Comic-Con, in addition to also entertaining Yoshi Blade, who I invited out to Phoenix Comic-Con, which is a very interesting experience. And we stayed with my friends King Tiger and King Tiger's wife.
Right.
And of course, also hung out with DJ Flexstyle. And
yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. And DJ JD, who is an Overclock remixer. And we hung out with him, Flexstyle, and several others for the very last evening. Although, actually, I guess it wasn't the very last. It was the second to the last evening that Endgame, Phoenix's local barcade, was going to be open for the very last time, at least, that we were going to be there. Short story is that they lease property from Arizona State University, and ASU has not been very willing to work with them in terms of the things that a venue of that sort would need to be able to do to operate.
Right.
And so as a result, they basically have had it and have decided that they were going to close down and ultimately move somewhere else.
That's sad.
It kind of is, because I actually really like their existing location. Although I guess it's now their former location, since...
You should have bought it.
I should have bought it. Well, considering Arizona State University is calling the shots on that piece of property, there's not a whole lot that I think I'm going to be able to do.
You should have bought it.
I should have bought it. MC Percolate is coming at you with the facts.
All of them. All at the same time.
All of them. So, after that, kind of the funny thing about that whole thing is that Yoshi Blade drove down from Cleveland to my house in Richmond, and then I had you pick me and him up to take us to Raleigh International Airport the next morning. And then we all flew out from there for 2 weeks. And right before I had left to come down to Raleigh, right before you had come to pick us up, I decided, after kind of weighing the options, because the options look really good, that I would spend a few days in Cleveland after Phoenix, because the airfare was pretty decent. So what we were going to end up doing was, after we came back, you ultimately drove us back up to Richmond, and which was fun because by the time we got back, we crashed for like 14 hours.
Oh my God.
We, and the sad reality was that after we woke up, we had to do a couple hours of, we being me, a couple hours of yard work, because literally it had been a month since my yard had any attention, because I had, of course, just not been there. So I had to spend a couple hours in the yard, and we left, I want to say, at either 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and we drove the 7 to 8 hours to Cleveland, Ohio. Got there at about 1:30 in the morning, and we crashed for probably another 12 to 14 hours. Mm-hmm. And then we did some things, hung out a bit, but the idea was that the summer was going to be incredibly busy, and that was really going to be the last opportunity that I would have to spend a great deal of time with Yoshi Blade in his hometown. And of course, I had the time. And like I said, the airfare coming from Cleveland was decent. So as a result, I took the opportunity to spend the time, continue to work with him. And it was another interesting experience. So, yes. So, of course, ultimately, at the end, he took me to Cleveland International Airport. I flew into Raleigh. Had you drive me back up to Richmond again. And
oh my God, that was like a 600, 700 miles total.
But I guess the only good thing about that whole thing is that your girlfriend lives north of me, so it's not all wasted. I mean, I know that was also mentally detrimental for you because of what was going on at the time, but nonetheless, you got that.
I mean, yeah, I think I lost out on like a total of 8 hours of sleep that week.
Yeah. So, and when I was in Cleveland, the middle of June, after we gotten back from Phoenix, right before I left, Yoshi Blade had kind of surprised me. I say kind of surprised me because I kind of knew what was going on. Because I'm a man that loves surprises.
Oh.
Good surprises, not bad surprises. I should clarify that.
Surprise, you're pregnant.
So, yeah. So, but the thing is that, especially if I'm actively working around you, it's very hard for you to keep a secret.
Very hard for me to keep a secret?
No. Anybody in general that I'm like working with and like I'm in the forefront of everything that they're doing.
Ah, okay. I hear you.
So anyway, he had a plaque made for me, which basically outlines the 3 things that I always say at the end of every show. And he effectively, at that point, had literally coined me as the patron saint of video game remixers. So I
don't think anybody had been crowned that yet, huh?
I don't think so, not to my knowledge. Now, he always called me that, and that's definitely a humbling thing to
accept.
Have somebody call me that, and certainly I accept that because I do agree that is
it's pretty cool.
That is what I could consider myself to be, considering everything I do for the community. Mm-hmm. But if you recall the 3 things that I say at the end of the show, and they may be meaningless to many people, and if that's the case, cool. That's fine. Now, actually, he got it wrong on the plaque, but that's okay. And much like anybody, he has his excuse for why he did that, and I'm just like, okay. So, at the end of the show, I always say, stay true to yourself, keep it real, and we'll catch you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he put, be true to yourself, and I understand the mistake. And his rationale was kind of hilarious, but I explained to him, I say, you can't just be true to yourself. You have to stay true to yourself. You always need to be in a constant reminder of where you came from, where you're trying to go, and where you're, you got to constantly check on yourself.
Yeah.
So, sure, be true to yourself, but I say stay true to yourself because it's just kind of at least in my mind, it's better wording so that you not only do you not forget where you came from and where you're going, but also that with everything you do, you got to keep a constant check on yourself.
Right.
And then, of course, keeping it real. A lot of people get that wrong in terms of what I mean by that. I don't mean like keeping it real in terms of like when keeping it real goes wrong from Dave Chappelle show.
Yeah.
I mean, keep it real, like as in keep it genuine, like this soda, real sugar, real root beer. You know, it's as real as it gets.
Or like MC Percolator.
You know, he's coming at you with the facts.
And that's with an FAX. Coming at you with the scan.
Now, a long time ago, and I mean a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
No. A long time ago, many people had asked me if I was ever going to do a radio show or do any form of broadcasting the way that I used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, after I ended radio, you already know the reasons why. Some of you out there don't, and that's okay. It's nothing bad. It's nothing sinister. It's just a decision I made, and that's the way it is. But anyhow, the final thing being that we'll catch you next time is that as long as I'm alive and willing and able, there should be a next time until there's a very good reason as to why I can't.
Right.
And so in thinking about all those things, I reminded myself, sure, I got out of professional broadcasting and that's cool, but there are a ton of people out there that look up to me and look up to the people on the show and the things that we talk about and rely on it for their own good and their own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And as the saying goes, you know, if I can help or instill any kind of inspiration or help to one person, then, you know, then I feel like I've done something.
Nice.
And
yeah, I don't know if any of you were guessing, but I was nodding my head.
He was. And actually, what's really funny, so MCP knows that I've worked with somewhere between 750 to 800 people since 1994. And if you didn't, you do now.
I was one in 94.
Yeah, you were. So he's known that I've worked with a number of people. And somebody actually surprised me by messaging me, and I was incredibly surprised.
I mean, you love surprises.
Yeah. So this person messaged me that I started working with in 2003, and this person reminded me an insane amount like our dear friend Yoshi Blade when I was working with him. Now, I say Yoshi Blade's a lot worse than this person or anybody else I work with. You know, we all have our own problems and we all have our own severity of problems and we all got to deal with those. But anyhow, so this person, I started working with him in 2003, and I stopped working with him in, I want to say 2006, the very end. And this person messaged me a couple months ago. And yes, I was very surprised. And yes, I love surprises, as we just discussed. And he wanted to express his thanks for all of the times that I metaphorically kicked his ass, especially during the times that he doubted everything that I was trying to tell him and the things that I was trying to work with him in regards to. Because this person over the last couple of years has been topping the charts in music. And I mean, this person is well known at this point. And I mean, I figured at this point in this person's career that I was the last person that I would get in contact with.
So are you going to say him or her name?
Nope. Because that's between me and this person.
But if they're popular...
Because again, that's between me and them. One of the things that's very important between those that I work with and myself is the fact that
it's confidential.
well, not only is it confidential, but you should never have to feel like anything that we talk about or do, even if in the future you become a big name, that, that's going to become publicly known unless you want it to be. That's not really up to me. Reason being is because much like my decline in radio broadcasting, aside from the stuff you already know, is the fact that I've had stalkers. I've had the good and the bad things happen to me in regards to that.
I mean, it's difficult to not have that when you're so sexy.
But when I'm so sexy. But the thing is, is that I value my time outside of that. And I certainly value the time that I spend with technology. And as a result, in addition to the other stuff that, we've talked about and
right.
Again, nothing bad. I had to gradually see myself out. And much like the confidentiality between me and them, I don't need the attention, just like they don't need the additional attention than they already have.
Right. If you're going to do it, do it yourself.
Because the other thing that I think people forget is that, if I were to reveal a lot of the stuff, whether it be the people that I work with or how I do it or why I do it, the why isn't really so bad, but in terms of revealing that, but the how and the who, would, wow.
That was a great burp. I'm sorry.
Would, I think, significantly lose the significance and the value that I currently provide.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, what's going to happen, because it's happened with so many other things that I work with in technology, people are going to want to analyze it and want to effectively try to figure out how they can
manipulate
not just make money off of it, but manipulate the information to turn it into something systematic that they can, provide to the masses. And frankly, that's not really what this is about. It's more about being personal. It's more about being one-on-one. It's more about...
No one really has anything personal anymore.
Yeah, I know. And it's all about learning and growing. And, much like a lot of the things that our good friend Yoshi Blade does, sure, you can look stuff up on the internet, but at the same time, if that crap that you're looking up on the internet isn't relevant to the topic at hand, well, that's not really effective.
Yeah. Because you'll just psych yourself out.
And I realize a lot of people out there may not understand what the heck I'm talking about, but if you're trying to, for example, utilize a research study about something we're talking about that really has nothing to do with that research study, well, I don't really care about that research study. That doesn't tell me anything.
Are you talking about Donkey Kong when we're talking about Mario?
No.
Well, alrighty then.
Now
I'll just
MC
have to leave that to the audience.
Now MC Percolator is just staring at me longingly with questions in his eyes, going, what?
There was a wink in there.
There's a wink. Okay. So,
it's been a very long week.
So I got the plaque. The funny thing is that I haven't hung it up yet because I don't really know where I want to put it.
Over your bed.
Well, I can't really do that because there's no place to put something like that over my bed. There are no walls around my bed right now.
That's weird.
Not really. You'd have to see how it's all set up to really.
You moved your bed again?
I moved it a couple months ago.
Even after you showed me last?
I
was at your house like.
Well, no, don't you remember that I have to climb into bed to get to it?
Oh, that's right.
That's true. I have to actually.
Your bed is actually in your clutter room that you've been talking about cleaning up for the past 5 months.
5 months, 4 years. Nah, that's my bedroom. That is my bedroom. That is sadly my bedroom.
Well, I'm just glad the rest of your house is cleaner than your bedroom.
What has to be? Because I do work in those rooms.
And your point is?
I sleep in my bedroom. That's about it.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, and what MCP is talking about is, over a year ago, I was strongly considering moving, and a lot of you guys out there know that. And I was trying to clean house effectively, and
right.
I did that with every other room. And what I did was I threw everything out into the open because I needed to see it.
Right.
As far as like clothes, because I was basically going to donate a ton of stuff, and I did to donate, for things that I definitely wasn't wearing or going to wear.
Mm-hmm.
I donated an insane amount of clothes, but as a result, there's a ton of clothes and other stuff that I'm certainly keeping, and that's been in the middle of my floor. But the thing is that
of our street.
But the thing is that I have cleaned that up a few times. But what seems to happen is every couple months, I seem to need a bunch of stuff, and I can't find it.
Story of my life.
So I basically do that all over again. I throw everything into the middle of the room and, pick out the stuff I'm not going to need and donate it. And then, of course, pick out the stuff that I need and try to, because I do actually put some stuff away, but there's just so much. Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is that I do so much because I work around the clock. I don't just work 8 to 5. I work literally every hour of the day, to the point where I have outfit after outfit, because certain shows that I do, live shows, it doesn't matter, to the point where I have an insane number of outfits. And a lot of those clothes that I donate
materialistic.
Are usually from the previous year's shows.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture somewhere, I know it's on Instagram and Facebook, of all the clothes that I donated in 2015, I think it is. Last year.
I saw the picture.
And it's like, and those are just the pants. Just short pants. Those aren't the long pants. Those aren't the shirts or anything else. Those are just the shorts. Then it's like
a mountain of shorts.
It is like a mount, and these were all folded and everything. It was just a mountain of shorts.
I think I've only owned like 2 pairs of shorts ever at any point in my life.
Yeah.
2 pairs of shorts, 3 pairs of pants.
Now, I can't really say that it's a materialistic thing, because most of the time, I'm effectively given the capability and the requirement, in some cases, to dress a certain way for a certain show, and or just required to have a certain look. I think people forget that in show business, especially with celebrities and what have you, that there is a particular look that said person has to have.
Right.
Now, certainly, any kind of artist has the ability to change their appearance at any given time, but most people tend to, be able to recognize a person based upon a certain look.
And then stereotype them according to like hipster or hippie or preppy.
Sure. Now, I guess I'm kind of different in that regards, in the sense that it's hard. It's
DJ Vince.
It's somewhat hard to pick me out of a crowd, because at any given time, my parents can change. I'm not
For a
talking.
second there, I thought you said my parents can change. I was like, what do your parents have to do with this? No,
Not only that, but I don't think my parents could change. No, my appearance could change at any given time, and I'm sure that you've seen that a few times. Maybe not. I don't
think
know.
so.
You think so?
Yeah, now you're starting to wear more tank tops.
Well, that's only because just the.
Your new tattoo.
So yes, that's because over the first couple of weeks I was trying to cure my tattoo, and I was trying to make sure that the ink
as balls.
It was hot as balls, and trying to make sure that the ink didn't, of course. Naturally, I needed it to bleed a little bit, not like literally bleed, but the colors needed to bleed a little bit. But I didn't want the colors disappearing.
Right.
So yes, it's true. After 12 long years of contemplating the pros and the cons, and there really weren't any cons, to be honest with you, of getting the Ubuntu 3D logo tattooed on my right shoulder. And when I was at my friend King Tiger and King Tiger's wife's house, along with Yoshi Blade, we were talking about that. And really, at that point, I had decided that at some point between the time I was there and the time I was going to leave, that I would find a reputable shop / studio and have it done. And about a weekend, so I was there for 2 weeks, about a weekend, I found a really awesome place. Not only were the reviews all excellent, but the artwork that they did from everything I saw was just phenomenal, and there was really no reason not to check them out. And I'm very glad I did, because they were able to take my concept and turn it into something that I certainly do not regret. And to be honest with you, it's something that I love more and more every day. And I ended up going with Chosen Art Tattoo Studio, which is in Glendale, Arizona. And I'm sure most of you have seen the photos online on Instagram and and Facebook. And like I said, it's just something I look at every day and I love more and more. And for those of you guys out there who don't know, but I deal quite a bit with enterprise architecture and platform engineering. And that is practically what I work with around the clock, aside from audio engineering. And as long as I've worked with artists since 1994, I've also worked with Linux operating systems pretty much since their debut into the commonplace.
Right.
And it's been an incredible journey, because Linux has always been about being an open platform for computing. And something I shared with on Facebook and I think Instagram about a month ago, where I was talking about how I recently came across some items that reminded me of when I first got into Linux, and how I was so turned off by the whole concept of open source technologies, because of course I was big into, believe it or not, Macintosh and Microsoft Windows at that point.
Oh yeah, you showed me all your old Macs that you had in your shed. When the ants overrode your entire shed.
Yeah, well, I took care of that, thank goodness.
Making anthills inside your old computers.
Not quite anthills; they were breeding in them.
That's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
While they were still working, while they were still turned on.
Well, the computers no, but some of my modems and other stuff that was in there, yes, they definitely did that.
I'm sure the heat made it great for them.
Well, I mean, it was already hot outside. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was going to do for them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, anyway, getting back to it. So, yes, I had the Ubuntu 3D logo tattooed. And Ubuntu in itself they've always had an incredible concept, which is why I've always loved Ubuntu as an operating system, because in itself, it does everything I need to do, and it works. It's like they've thought of everything, which is why I've used it since they themselves debuted. MCP is falling asleep.
I'm so tired, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have a root beer in here. Does this have caffeine in it? It better. It's a lot of sugar.
I don't see caffeine in here. Anyhow, but Ubuntu powers everything that I do, both inside and outside the office. All the servers I have, for the most part, are running a variant of Ubuntu, and it powers my life and my ability to work with people and to work with technology and to, of course, travel all over the place to work with artists. It doesn't really matter, what type of artist they are, because they could be a live musician, they could be a video game remixer, which is, of course, what I've been working with a lot lately. They could be a online streamer, just somebody who does a lot of content creation, or they could be, go as far as to actually create content, using a camera and or effects, which I've done before.
Right on.
But I mean, that's the thing, apart from the Ubuntu logo being an incredible design, and always has been. I mean, I've always loved for what it stands for, and of course it's the ideals that I've always lived by, even before Ubuntu became a thing. And of course, being a part of the open source community in that regard is just amazing. But effectively, the ideas of Ubuntu are all about sharing, caring, acceptance, diversity, giving back, acknowledgement, and working towards a greater good through software and open source technologies.
Right.
Basically, humanity to others, something that we see very rarely of these days, especially as people become more and more less personal.
Like how people are diving into Pokemon Go. I don't know if everybody's been... No, everybody.
Oh, no, nobody does
Nobody
that.
knows about Pokemon.
No.
Nobody. I mean, it's only one of the most popular video games.
I've been doing Pokemon Go before Pokemon Go was a thing.
No, I don't know. I've been playing Pokemon since '96 when I got my first video games red version on my purple Game Boy Color. And I've played every generation of Pokemon since it came out. Not in any particular order. It was my first real game where I played it and was old enough to figure out how to play the game and beat it myself was Ruby, and I put over 300 hours on that mother. That was a long game, all the way from 4th grade to 5th grade. 3rd grade to 5th grade, I believe, because it came out in 2003, I think. But anyways, Pokemon Go is... I don't know, the public seems to see it as like a negative thing, but everybody who does play sees it as a huge positive thing because everybody's getting outside.
So
there were 12 million people that downloaded that app.
Sure.
12 million people. It's become the most popular app downloaded on Android and iOS.
So my whole thing is that, yes, I agree that it is...
it's beneficial to people in a lot of ways that others can't see.
Yeah, I mean, it's beneficial in the fact that, sure, it's getting people outside. It's getting them, especially those that are introverted or afraid to...
It's getting people to walk 5
work with
miles
people
to hatch eggs.
Sure, but the downside is that, somebody who can't really play Pokemon Go, just because of the nature of the things that I work with and the places that I have to go where you can't really... have people publicly being on that property.
Right.
Is the fact that, yes, there are people who are trespassing, who are going out of their way to do it sometimes.
Right, but there's stupid people doing everything.
Sure.
Stupid people who drive cars. There's stupid people who play tennis. There's stupid people
Sure, but I mean, trespassing is clearly one of those things that... At least from my perspective,
right.
Anyway, it's like, come on.
But out of the 12 million people that downloaded it across the world, And
I don't know.
Maybe a few hundred people.
I don't know
when you are messing it up.
I don't know, when you consider that major cities' police officers have to publicly tell the world, "Hey, we need to remind you because you're not getting it that trespassing is a big deal, and you need to, follow that." I mean, because what I've seen isn't just like a few cases. It's like a ton of cases. It's prompted law enforcement all over the world to say, "Hey, people, you need to be mindful that if this isn't your property, especially if it's private property, you need to be a little bit mindful of where you are."
Right.
And in fact,
it's so much different than 10 years ago when I was a
kid. And in fact, even my church, they actually have had to lock the place. Because there have been people running around doing all kinds of stuff during, church-related events, and it's like you're at a church, not a playground.
Well, true.
I'm not going to say a church isn't a public place, but a church is also a spiritual place where, again, you need to be a little bit mindful of where you are. So my thing isn't that you shouldn't be playing it or anything like that. No, you can play it to your heart's content, but just be mindful of where you are and what you're doing.
And I can understand that.
Because, we also don't need you falling off a cliff, like apparently happened to a couple recently.
There's stupid people everywhere, I swear.
Yeah. So,
they might have had a very high IQ. Falling off a cliff is kind of hard.
Yeah. Oh, so, I know I'm going a little bit backwards, but I'm trying to remember. I think it was the day after I got the Ubuntu tattoo here. Mm-hmm. So my good friend Rossi, you all know him from previous episodes of the podcast, although he hasn't been on in a while.
Rossi.
He drove down from Los Angeles to hang out with us for a few days while we were there, and also watch as I got my tattoo.
Those pictures were funny.
They were, because also Yoshi Blade fell asleep when I was getting it done. And the funny thing is that although sure there was pain and I could feel it, but the funny thing is that I was trying not to laugh, and I was telling the fellow tattoo artists who were apparently told me I was rocking it like a champ.
I still need to get my first tattoo.
And we'll talk about that in a sec. And Yoshibay just falls asleep, and I told Jack, who is my pretty awesome tattoo artist. He does really good work. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm trying not to laugh because I want to make sure you don't mess up the lines here. Because it's like, how do you fall asleep during something like that?
I mean, especially if you're not the one getting your tattoo done.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking from my own personal experience, I could fall asleep anywhere. Like right here, for instance. I'm joking. But, yeah, you put me in a chair in a cold room, and I'm out.
I wouldn't say it was cold, but...
a dentist office.
It's Arizona.
Kind of yeah.
Arizona. And not to mention, we went hiking for a few days, and Yoshblade almost killed himself because he didn't take his water with him when he went up the other half of the mountain, and he still doesn't understand what he did wrong. Well,
I mean, to each his own.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that really goes there, but to each his own.
Yeah, but
when in Rome.
Yeah, but if your whole reason for not drinking water is because somebody else drank it, even though you left your water down at the bottom, and you're not going to drink the water because somebody drank, before you, and you haven't had water in a while, and you're in 120-degree heat, that's a problem. Because he felt it later that night when he got sick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a very good time.
I don't think he was very kind to hear the "I told you so."
Well, that's not really obviously what I like to iterate sometimes. But the sad reality is that sometimes you got to let your own personal qualms, you got to let those go,
To survive.
To survive, because I don't think he realizes, I mean, he may understand what he did. People die from that. And in fact, there were record heats when we were there.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you're at a swim meet.
Well, the funny thing is that we blame the fact that I was there and that I left it there when I left. Because it was the record heats were when we were there. And of course, continued for a little while after we left.
I mean, if that doesn't prove how sexy you are, I don't know what does.
Well, I think it was either that or the mixed CD that we found on the ground. That Notionblade has a picture of on his Instagram.
Somebody's mixtape?
Yeah, well, mixtape. Or like we think we figured out why it's so hot here in Arizona.
Oh man, that's great.
Yep. So after that, let's see. I worked for several weeks after that. Then after that, I spent I guess it was a 4-day weekend in on Long Island with our good friend Vault Hunter, and had a hilarious Independence Day weekend, which we'll talk a little bit more after the break, because it is way past that time that we usually take a break. So that's right. You're listening to the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, episode 1308. I am DJ Vince VinnyMac.
And I'm MC Percolator. Coming at you with the facts.
Yeah, he's coming at you with them facts. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the VinnyMac's 9 Radio Show podcast, the most radioactive show on the planet, episode 1308, coming to you live right here from MC Puckaleta's pad here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, buddy.
And he's coming at you.
With the facts.
That's right.
Now, I thought you were really going to point at me again to do the 5, 4,
No.
3.
That's only at the beginning. There we go. Only
And in Wayne's World.
Yes, in Wayne's World. And the beginning of the podcast. So yes, I'm the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac. I kind of butchered that a little bit.
I think everybody tuning in is pretty familiar with your name.
Well, that's not true. Because
Well, I mean, if like...
We do usually have some new people who have no idea who I am. And we also do have a lot of people who are trying to figure out who I am.
Indeed.
Because I am a conundrum.
You are a mystery. Indeed.
I am a puzzle.
A quiz.
It's a good puzzle. It's not a bad puzzle. So
a mind-boggling quiz.
I'm a mind fuck. That's what I am.
Mindfuck. I'm pretty sure that's an old wooden ship.
It would probably be the type of
Civil War era.
Probably be the type of wooden ship that I would own and have and have in my port.
Otherwise, in French, known as a whale's vagina.
There you go. So anyway, we left off talking about my awesome 4 to 5 day, depending on how you look at it, weekend on Long Island. It was
where you went from a shaven face to a full beard in that time, just in time for Independence Day.
Yeah, I would say so. my hair does grow pretty quick. This is true.
I mean, your beard's growing in pretty grizzly-like.
Yes, and in fact, actually, after this weekend, it'll be going away until MagFest.
Ouch.
MagFest Labs, that is.
Right.
Or Mag Laboratories.
What date is that again?
It's the middle of September.
18th, right? Yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool beans.
So
if anybody's anybody, go to MagFest.
Yes. Now, bear in mind that there are several events throughout the year that makes up MagFest. The prime event being the beginning of the calendar year. Mm-hmm. First few days of January. Of course, we have the mid-year event coming up the middle of September at the original location of MagFest being at the Alexandria Hilton Mark Center in Alexandria, Virginia, right across the bridge from National Harbor, Maryland, which is where the MagFest Prime event is. So we hope to see you there. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a ton of people there that I'm going to be mingling with.
MCP will be there.
MCP will be there. I think Rossi will hopefully be there.
We're trying to make that happen.
And
trying to get Ten Wug in here too.
And hopefully, of course, I have a ton of people to talk to and work with, and it's going to be an incredibly crazy weekend. So, anyhow, going back to Long Island. So I left on Friday. Let's see, was it Friday? Yeah, it was Friday. Very early, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I had to drive to Midlothian for something real quick, and then I usually fill up there when I go to New York like that. And then I think I left Midlothian around 9 in the morning, and usually I do not take 95 all the way up to the Jersey Turnpike because there's an insane amount of tolls, as we talked about.
Right.
Usually,
lots of money.
Yeah, usually I take 81 to, I think it's 78 or 76. I forget. It's been a little while, and usually I use the GPS to do it. So, but anyway, I took 95 just because I wanted to see how the road conditions have changed since the last time I took it, which was a long time ago. And throughout the entire trip, paid $70 in tolls. And, of course, it was the holiday weekend, and, of course, it being summer and beach traffic as well. It was just crazy. So I left at 7 a.m. I didn't get there till like 7:30 at night. And also, I should also bear in mind, that by the time I got into Maryland, it started raining really hard. And by the time I got into Jersey and had to stop at one of the service plazas to fill up, because I wasn't really sure, based on where I was, where the best place to fill up after that point was. Because usually when I go into New York, I try not to fill up. Because typically, anyway, it's usually more expensive once you get into Manhattan, especially. And, well, not get into, but cross Manhattan.
Okay, I can't even imagine the gas prices.
Yeah. I mean, they're not terrible. They're just more expensive. And you also have to remember that up north, you definitely have just about a statewide thing where all the gas stations have cash and credit prices. Where, of course, the credit price is higher.
That's absurd to me, because a few years ago I was up in Maine and it was $4.99 a gallon when gas down south was like $2.70, $2.80.
Yeah,
we're approaching $3.
Yeah,
$4.99 a gallon.
Well, when I was
California prices.
Well, when I was in, I think the highest price that I paid was $2.29, and that's when gas got up there a little bit.
That's how much it is down the road. The gas station across the street for us.
Well, bear in mind though that right now gas is like $1.90 in Virginia.
Yeah,
but no, I mean it was either $2.29 or $2.39. I forget, but either way, it was like I think it was like $2.07 everywhere else at that point.
It's not that bad.
No, but I mean, when you factor in the fact that that's like 15, 20 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, sure, it's slightly above $2. That's definitely not $5 a gallon. But comparatively, when you compare it to my local prices, that's high.
Anyways.
So I drove up there, got there at 7:30. Brad, who is Vault Hunter, that's what he is going under now, and that's pretty cool. I like him as an individual, and I like where he's trying to go. It's a pretty cool dude. Much like everybody I work with, and everybody out there, we all have things we have to work on and work through. And there are things I'm trying to work on with him. And I think he's headed in the right direction. But when I got there, it was still raining. It was just so wet. And, yeah, I know where you're going with that.
There are jokes.
Yes, there are. So he, I had asked him what type of restaurants were good in his area. And he had recommended a hibachi place that I guess he frequents more than I do. And he also had a gift certificate that he got for his birthday.
Oh, nice.
So, of course, he wanted to use that, and he actually forgot it. And I was like, we were down the road, and I was like, well, we're not that far away. Go get it if you want to go and use it. And he did. And his friend Dan and his girlfriend came with us as well. And so it's a hibachi-style place. And, of course, if you're familiar with that, you know that usually they try to fill up the table to try to maximize the people that they're cooking for. And the group who was sitting with us, they were very impressed with the amount of beverages that I could drink, particularly the alcoholic beverages. And it wasn't that I was drinking a lot, as it was that they were kind of making me get a lot.
Oh, your friends were?
No. The people who were next to us.
Oh, gosh.
Well, first off, what happened was, I don't know if these people were married or if they're girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, but the guy's girl, she's like, well, he ordered me a beer, and I don't really drink a beer, so you can have it if you want. And I was like, all right, well, cool. So
sweet, free beer.
So I did, and I drank that pretty quick. And she was very surprised at that, but also more surprised that I wasn't tipsy, drunk, or effectively just not visually inebriated in any way. And I'm just like, well, I do this all the time in the sense that, I work in show business, so this really is not an unusual thing for me. So anyway, they were...
Pounded beers?
Yeah, well, not just beers, but alcohol in general. So they were also indulging in scorpion bowls.
Ew, what are those?
Which is pretty much just mostly alcohol.
That anything to do with sake, or what is that?
No, if I remember, I think it's purely vodka.
Oh my god!
But so there are pictures on Facebook and Instagram,
mm-hmm.
and there's one picture I like in particular. It's basically a big bowl, and at the top, in the center, is where I don't know if it's most or if it's all the alcohol sits. And the idea is that you're supposed to pop it into the rest of the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bowl like this big. And for those of you guys at home who can't see the size of this bowl that I'm visually showing MCP, it's on Instagram so you can see what this thing looks like. And you're supposed to put the alcohol in there and then, of course, use a straw to, suck the liquid out and drink it. And again, these ladies were so impressed that I was still talking in complete sentences and not having any problems that they ordered me another one, which I had to pay for anyway. That one, me and Brad actually shared because he wanted to try it. I'm sure he had it before, but nonetheless, we shared it, and again, the ladies were just so surprised at how we could drink that and not have any problems. Now, here's the funny part. Yep, that's the picture. Here's the funny part. Now, there's another one of me and Brad sharing it, sharing the second one, which I think you've seen.
That guy.
Yeah.
That one. That picture. That guy.
So after the hibachi, now bear in mind his girlfriend wanted to do this, so it wasn't like we all wanted to do this. We all decided after that to go to the strip club.
Uh-oh.
No, it was a hilarious time, and we all had a good time, and even used the cash shooter. That was a fun experience.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and then of course we all went home, and his girlfriend went home for the evening, and me and Brad had a chat for probably about an hour until I think 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow!
And then of course we went to bed till 2:30, I want to say, in the afternoon. Actually, it may have been even later than that. I want to say
that's a good day's sleep.
I maybe wouldn't even say it was even 3:30 in the afternoon. It was very late. So when we wake up, we had some bagels, talked to his parents for a little bit, and so at that point it was Saturday, and I'm trying to remember because it feels like it was ages ago.
It's like a month ago, wasn't it?
No, it was like 2 weeks ago.
God, oh my gosh. All my days start to meld together. It's weird.
Exactly. So, I'm gonna have to utilize the help of Instagram to remember, because I don't.
You were just using it.
Yeah. So, okay. So Saturday was dedicated mostly to. Let's see. This
Can't
sucks.
cut your tongue.
This sucks.
Felix is downstairs.
Yes, he is. Okay. Saturday was dedicated mostly to chilling and also hanging out with some of his friends and also some of his parents' friends. We played some board games. Actually, they were really fun. I was very very surprised. No, we didn't play Risk.
That's a fun game.
And I'm pretty sure that's all we did on Saturday, because of course we got up very late.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, because I'm trying to piece the days together. Sunday, that's when we went to the port and we tried some brews, tried some beers.
Mm-hmm.
They were all very good, and in fact, hopefully, Brad will be bringing some down to MagFest to share with some of us, and it'll be a good time. And we also went to a restaurant where I met his friend John Kelly, who is a pretty hysterical character. He's a DJ, and and just a pretty cool dude as well.
Yeah.
And had the pleasure of meeting with him and chatting with him over lunch with Brad. And then after that, we went to a pretty chill party at one of his friends' houses. And I was a little disappointed that he didn't remember that they had a pool, because if I was aware, and if he had remembered too, because he had forgotten, we both would have brought our suits so we could have indulged in the pool fun, which was definitely unfortunate because the pool definitely looked inviting.
You were gonna jump into the pool with suits on?
You know what we mean, bathing suits. Come on.
Okay, because my older brothers jumped into a pool with a full suit.
No, we would not do that. MCP, come on.
I would.
Come on.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I'm smacking my lips at him.
And then after that, we went to Miller's Ale House, which is a little ways away from where we were. And we were there pretty late because we were with John, Brad, and also one of their friends who is a project manager and also does a lot of stuff with streaming technologies. And I shared with him some of the stuff that I am working with. And of course, much like most people who get to see some of that, he was blown away.
Right.
He was like, damn. He's like, I can't touch quite anything like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we shared some, I had a sangria pitcher, and we each basically had a pitcher to ourselves to share, which I had taken the liberty of getting everybody. And, we just all had a good time, and also shared with all of them. Brad, of course, already knew, but all of them, what I'm all about and what I do and all that fun stuff. And it was a jolly good time. And so, of course, by the time that we got back, again, I'm trying to remember, we had even more beer after that, because we finally cracked open the beers that we bought at the brewery to take home with us. Mm-hmm. And we shared that. And again, all this stuff is on Instagram, so if you want to check that out, you can. And you'll see all the fun that we had. And then, of course, on the July 4th day itself, being Monday this year, Brad had 2 parties to DJ at. And, of course, I was kind of helping him with that and just also helping him to provide some needed feedback. And really, there wasn't a whole lot. He did really well by himself. First party, met some pretty chill people. Wanted to indulge in some things I couldn't, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. Being a party, and just had kind of a relaxing time talking with some of the people and hearing about some of the things that they do, and having some cigars and just chilling, and also hearing about how they had a ban list.
Oh God!
People who were banned from the party.
Oh God!
Yeah.
MCP was not invited.
No, he was not. Nor was he in the area to indulge.
That's irrelevant.
And then, of course, that's when I met the dude who had the Sonic tattoo that you inquired.
Oh yeah.
About whether or not that was mine. And of course, I was like, no. You know it's not. Indulged in some.
You would definitely get a Sonic tattoo. Don't even, or at least about a ring.
If I were going to get another tattoo, I might get something like that, but I've already said that, at least for the foreseeable future, that I'm not planning on any more tattoos.
Yeah. So,
then indulged in some Gentleman's Jack with the guys, which is a kind of a video game music tradition, at least that I do anyway. And it just so happened to be there, so we indulged in it.
Nice.
And then, of course, John Kelly, he also was working with Brad during the second party to DJ, and it was pretty awesome time. Mm-hmm. And shot about $7,000 worth of fireworks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you shooting off with your hands?
No.
Don't try it at home.
No, we used a torch.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. I had to wrap up the DJing a little bit earlier than we had wanted to because it started raining kind of close to midnight. But, I mean, at that point, it was time to pack it up anyway. And then at that point, we went inside and we played Resistance, which is kind of a fun game with 9 other people. Of course, the following morning, so we wrapped up, I think, like at 2:30 in the morning. So the following morning, me and Brad had to be up. Well, I had to be up at 6:30 in the morning, and he had to be up at about like 7:15 because he had to work. And of course, at that point, I needed to drive back to Virginia. Now, he had known that I was going to not immediately drive back to Virginia, but I was going to head out at the same time he was going to head out for work so that I could head out to New Jersey so I could meet up with my friend Joe and hang out with him for a little bit and get some lunch and just see what he's been getting into. And in the last year, I got to say that he's doing a lot better for himself. And at least as far as I've seen anyway, I like where he's going. He looked pretty good when I saw him, and I hope that that continues for him. And of course, when I had lunch with him, I had stuffed shells, and that was probably some of the better stuffed shells that I had in quite a long time. And then, of course, after coming back from Long Island, I was exhausted. I also got sick after that, and it wasn't because of the people that I was with. I got kind of a mild sinus infection, and I would attribute that due to a combination of some of the Coke products that I had, because certain amounts of that causes some allergic reactions.
Right.
Not anything detrimental, but again, it's more something that can happen to my sinuses, in addition to also the insane amount of cigars that I had that past weekend, because I had a crap ton.
Speaking of cigars, we gotta have another one soon.
We do. And so that weekend I had some live shows to DJ, and also had some special lighting effects to do that I'd never done before that I wanted to do for some of these, in addition to some custom visualizations that I wanted to do, along with some old school visualizations by using the advanced classic visualization studio that I use. And we had a killer time, particularly with our Hackers themed DJ set that I did. And I'm hoping that I can do that again, because I had a crazy killer time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day after that, I was invited to have lunch with a friend that I haven't seen in 7 years.
Wow.
And when I was with him, I was able to visit the old radio station that I used to be general manager of and chief engineer of for very close to 3 years. I think it was a little over 3 years. And that building is 146 years old. And sadly, a year after I left, the folks that were running that station kind of killed it. And sadly, it hasn't really been doing too well. But sadly, I've offered all the advice that I can. The folks over there aren't really willing to take any useful advice, and there's only so much that I can really do. And I've done that all I can really do at this point. So that was definitely a good time. Then I had a little less than a week to finish up the preparations for the next installment of Super Secret Stream, which happened earlier in the week. Although, I guess it wasn't earlier in the week. I guess it was the end of last week. And that was a awesome time. Yes, we caught the spy. We played our new interactive game, Capture the Spy, along with the audience and the viewers at home, those who mastered the clues and got their unique authorization or an authentication key to access the stream, and it was pretty amazing. Followed by the fact that after that, I did a 3-hour DDR-themed DJ set. Total of 6 hours for this particular super secret stream. And, it was just amazing. And then, of course, over the weekend, this past weekend, had a ton of stuff to do, ton of preparation to do for the podcast. And also had to get ready for this past week, because this week and next are pretty busy for me. So one of the other things that I'm looking at here as I'm looking over Instagram is the fact that both me and Brad did several sake shots to the face. You've seen the picture.
Punches?
No. Where the chef is taking the sake bottle and squirting it in our face.
Yeah, it was a pretty good distance.
Yes.
It was like 2 feet.
Now, the sad thing is that I got a few pictures of Brad doing it, but of course we didn't get any pictures of me doing it, which is probably a good thing.
Oh, jeez.
But that was definitely a good time, along with the hibachi volcano, which is probably the number one reason why you have to go to a hibachi restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I mean, I love hibachi.
Funny story.
To go all the time.
You know how they usually juggle an egg, or will try to balance it with their spatula. Well, he threw it in our neighboring guest's cleavage. She had a good time though with it.
The entire egg?
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
it was pretty hilarious.
I could never imagine getting that clever with it. I could throw knives, I could throw axes and hatchets and chop wood and all that stuff, but I just can't throw anything with a spatula. Well, I can't even flip my omelet. Well, she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. Ooh.
I'm just looking over a few things, seeing if there's anything I missed. What?
Nothing. Didn't think you'd be on your phone on the podcast.
Again, I'm looking at Instagram to see if there's anything I need to talk about.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing it. Bitch.
Don't call me up. Can't call me up.
So we were talking a little bit ago about how I had some ant problems in my detached shed. Well, One of the other photos that I was looking at here is the photo of all the computers, servers, network devices, and what have you that I had to scrap. All stuff that is really no longer usable or working in any way. And the cases are cracked and can't really be donated, unlike the other crap ton of equipment that I did donate, of stuff that is working and stuff that I just can't really use anymore, because this stuff has to be scrapped because it really cannot be used, and it just needed to go. But anyway, this was in the detached shed that did have the ant problem, but luckily this stuff did not get infested with that stuff, and yes, I did take care of that problem, and that's all taken care of for now.
You're going to have to show me how that computer cleaning device you have works.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty... Well, it's not a computer, it's an electronics. Yeah. Anyway,
okay. So
I'm looking at some other things, and so, of course, we have a pretty hilarious video on Facebook that I'm sure you've seen, where we finally got Yoshi Blade in King Tiger's pool. And because... I don't know. He's really crazy when it comes to pools. Even pools that...
Yoshi Blade?
Yeah, even pools that you can tell are kept up really well. Like, I mean, being a germaphobe, that's just how he is.
Mm-hmm. It's chlorine. It kills everything.
I don't know. He's weird when it comes to that. Anyway, we have a fun video where he's like, I have made a grave mistake. When he went out on... We've seen the video.
I think I have.
And then, of course, most importantly, one of the other reasons why I wanted him to come is because King Tiger had drawn him what I guess you could consider the album cover for him, King Tiger, and Yoshi Blade's track Hang In There. That was approved for publication on Overclock Remix a couple months ago.
Cool.
And he had framed it for him, and of course Yoshi Blade took it home with him to Cleveland. And I was also there to make sure that he got it and then it came home in one piece. And there's a picture of that on Instagram as well. So
Nice.
we all had a pretty crazy time. I also had fun playing laser tag with Rossi. We only had time for one game because the place closed. But but the thing I wanted to tell that I forgot was, so the day after I got my tattoo, and right after, me and Rossi, stay awake, man.
I've got one eye open. Okay.
I know. Right after me and Rossi played laser tag, we went to Sonic and got a drink, and we chatted for like an hour. And then after that, we went to Walmart, and we saw some items that we had to buy.
Sandals?
No.
T-shirts?
Tank tops, Monster Energy drinks, Doritos.
VGM juice?
No. Basically, what we were going to do was we were going to shoot a live-action sketch involving Yoshi Blade, of which he wasn't going to know when we walked in the house, which also meant that I had to figure out what was going on in the house when I walked in.
Mm-hmm.
So that me and Rossi could film this thing and also not confuse anybody. to basically where I was going to wear a Coke tank top, and you've seen that.
Yeah.
A Mountain Dew hat. I was going to come in with a camo plastic cup with a straw, which would be filled with...
This would be a floating straw.
No.
Camo.
No. It's just the outer edge of the glass that's camo. I would also be chugging Monster Energy drinks along with Doritos.
You have a heart attack.
And basically giving Yoshi Blade a hard time about the fact that basically being your typical YOLO douche. Sadly,
you wear tap out gear.
Sadly, I didn't have a Bluetooth earpiece or anything like that to really seal the deal. But it was really hilarious because he was so confused.
Oh man!
But it was so hilarious prepping for that because you've seen the photos and they're on Instagram, and some of them are on Instagram and some of them are on Facebook. But it was so funny, the preparation phase, because me and Rossi are doing the douche shoot, as I call it.
Oh man!
And it was just hilarious.
I really wish I could have been in there with the Arizona trip. That sounded like a lot of fun.
It was, but maybe next year.
Maybe next year. Next episode.
On the next episode of Rossi's Weird Ideas.
And that's the way the news goes.
Actually, the funny thing about that whole thing is that I had to chug the Monster Energy drink, not just one, and eat the Doritos. And of course, as many of you guys out there know, I don't really drink energy drinks of any kind, so that's pretty brutal on me. And it was pretty crazy.
I bet you were pretty wired.
I don't know. I think
or nauseous.
I think considering my body took it, quote unquote, like a champ after the fact, but when I was doing it, I was just like trying not to throw up on camera.
Ew, that's gross.
Because literally, I'm eating the Doritos and trying to drink the Monster Energy drink while trying not to throw up, and also trying to be like a douche for the camera.
Bruh. Call him bro. Oh,
but sadly I had to return the secondary camo container that I had on my belt because it broke.
Oh, man.
Which I exchanged for, I think, 2 or 3 Monster Energy drinks.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I was trying to prove a point, and with certain people, like Yoshi Blade, the typical points that you would drive to most people, he doesn't really get them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't think the point was really... I don't think I really got the point across to him at how bad energy drinks for you, especially large amounts of energy drinks are you at, and, in short sittings.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next day I got a 10-pack.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And I did not finish it. I couldn't.
Of energy drinks?
Because I had 24 hours to finish it.
Oh, that's terrible. They don't suggest you drink more than 2.
Well, no. That's the thing. I couldn't. I did not.
Good.
Because I physically could not.
Good. You would, your heart would be pounding out of your chest, physically.
I know. And that's why I did not do that.
Good. I'm glad you didn't. DJ Vinny Mac.
That's right. MC Percolated.
That stutters a lot.
Okay. I thought you were going to say coming at you with the facts, but okay.
I mean, it is the fact that I do stutter a lot.
So, Comic-Con in itself was pretty interesting because Yoshi Blade could only stand a very, very short amount of time there.
Mm-hmm.
Being a introvert who can't stand being around people. Again, being a germaphobe, that's a problem. Oh, and speaking of, there's also a picture of the 10-pack on Instagram.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. We also, as I said earlier, we did some hiking. We also played with some scorpions. There's some pictures on there as well. It was just an educational last couple of months.
I mean, I'm sure it was. I wish I could have been there for a lot of it.
And speaking of educational, I learned that hustle butter is the coolest stuff on the planet.
God.
Yes.
Hustle butter.
That stuff is magic.
Working man hands. I hear that stuff's pretty good too. But oh well.
So it's been a very eventful last 2.5, 3 months. I hope that everybody out there has had an eventful last couple of months as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hope everything's going okay with everybody out there. And if not,
and in the famous words of Ice Cube, you better chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Psh, sure. But anyway, if you're not doing well, I hope that you try to steer yourself in the right direction. Seek help with those that can help you. And I hope that everybody out there uses the quote-unquote support network that they have out there, whether it be friends, family, people on the internet that they look up to. Because I certainly work with a ton of people, and I see the good, the bad, the snuggly, as I call it sometimes. And it's just very humbling, my position in the community and the things that I do for it.
And please, for the love of God, if you are playing Pokemon Go, be aware of your surroundings and use the buddy system.
Exactly.
Don't be the people who ruin it for everyone else.
We don't need you being a statistic.
Don't be a statistic. That's a good phrase.
That's
I like
right.
that one. I need to remember that one more often.
Well, it's been
real.
It's definitely been real, and it's been quite the podcast. And I'm sure there's a ton of other things we could talk about, but we only have a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, on behalf of myself, DJ Vince VinnyMac,
and MC Percolator, coming at you with the facts.
Yeah, he does that. He seems to do that.
Do I need to say that phrase every time?
You do. It's important. Because there are new people who don't know that you come to them with the facts.
We said it like 3 times this.
I don't care.
All right.
People may have just joined us.
Okay,
who knows?
I get it. All right.
Who knows?
All right.
Anyway,
all right.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 1308 of the podcast.
On the podcast.
Yeah. Coming to you live from Raleigh, North Carolina. MC
Raleigh,
Percolator's pad. I'm not sure why he's echoing. Because he's really starting to screw this up. So on behalf of everybody here at VinnyMac Interactive Entertainment, I want to thank myself. I want to thank MC Percolator. I want to thank Rossi, Tenmug, Yoshi Blade. I certainly want to thank our good friend Volt Hunter, King Tiger, and King Tiger's wife. And of course, DJ Flexstyle, DJ JD. Everybody that I've hung out with. I'm sure there's a ton of people I'm forgetting. I hope I don't make you feel left out.
Mm-hmm.
But do realize that I do care about everybody out there. And I certainly want to thank everybody at the VinnyMac Productions Monitoring and Control Center in Huntsville, Alabama for helping to monitor the technicals behind the stream to make sure that everything is cool behind the scenes, because there is an insane amount of technology that makes all of this work, and without them, and of course without you, the listener, and the people out there who make everything that we do just an incredible journey. Thank you for being a part of this. And before I close, is there anything you want to say, MC Percolator?
I just drew a blank.
You just drew a blank, so no.
No.
So as always, at the end of the show, I am the one and only DJ Vince VinnyMac. Stay true to yourself, keep it real, and we'll catch you next time. We're out.